So, out of the blue, out of left field of sorts, at least for me, Oregon adds a new player for 2025 and the 2025-2026 season. I'm going to take my best stab at it. I haven't heard any pronunciations. Ege Demir is a Nigerian and Turkish player who is, I think, 20 years old. He's been playing for the last couple of years in a professional league over in Turkey, and he adds immediate depth to Oregon's front court. He is joining the team this year, and practices are kind of starting to get underway for college basketball teams. And this is an Oregon team who I think will be good. There are more questions I have about this year's squad than I did last year. My hype level is not quite as high. I think they should be a tournament team. I don't know if their ceiling is the same. I would have felt differently if they'd gotten Desmond Claude, who went up to Washington. The Huskies are going to be a really good basketball team this year, at least significantly improved from a year ago. But they should be pretty darn good. But Oregon just added front court depth, and I really like this move for a couple of reasons. So Demir is not going to blow you away with the numbers that you might see. You know, like under 5 points and 5 rebounds a game, hasn't played a ton of minutes. You know, with the team he's playing, I'm not going to try to pronounce the team name, by the way. It's Turkish. That does nobody any favors. He was playing around 15 minutes or so a game. The highlight reel is very impressive. He's 6'10", he's 250 pounds, and he now joins a front court that has KJ Evans, Sean Stewart, Miles Stewart as well. I think Miles Stewart is more of a depth piece, really, and especially now that they've brought in Demir, I don't think Miles Stewart sees the floor. I feel better about Demir than Miles. But Sean Stewart, the Ohio State transfer with KJ Evans, and then Nate Bittle, this is the sort of front court that Dana Altman just loves to have. He has always loved his big guys, and you know when Oregon missed out on Paul Mbia, the Frenchman, who is also from Africa originally. I forget which country. I think Cameroon, maybe. I'm gonna look that up real quick. He Congolese. Paul Mbia is Congolese and French, and so Demir is Nigerian, Turkey, Eugene, Oregon. College basketball is great. So the highlight reel that you may or may not have seen flying around on the internet is rather impressive. And the impressive part is his athleticism. At 6'10 and 250, he can get up there. And this is something I talked about as Oregon was going after Mbia. Dana Altman, I think N'Faly Dante is Dana Altman's favorite player in the history of Oregon basketball. Because ever since he didn't get another year of eligibility, this now, to me, looks like attempt number 2 at finding the next Dante. And you know what? How could you not love Dante? Look at what they turned him into. You know, he's played a little bit in the NBA, and he does a lot of work in the G League for the Houston Rockets, but his career with Oregon, very successful. But, you know, a big guy who's really good defensively, blocks shots, rebounds, big, like fit, not just tall. You know, Nate Bittle is tall, but he's not big. You know, he's not an imposing physical presence. Of course, he got pushed around in that NCAA tournament game against Arizona, but that's not the sort of thing that is going to happen for a guy like Demir. Now, why he doesn't play more minutes and have bigger stats, I don't know. I don't have the full rundown on every Turkish basketball league and the ins and outs of the roster there. It could be a conditioning thing. It could be a rotation thing. But there are a lot of similarities to Dante here, and his highlight reel is comprised mostly of dunks and finishes around the rim. Sets a big screen, rolls to the basket. You give him a lane, he's just going to throw it down. And he appears to be a plus defender. In the shot blocking department, he averaged about a block per game in just 15-ish minutes of action, which is crazily efficient at the defensive end of the floor. He's not someone who I think stretches it out a ton. He shoots, and here's how I know he'll be a perfect fit for this year's Oregon basketball team, or any Oregon basketball team for that matter. He was around 59% from the floor, highly efficient, most of his shots coming within a couple feet of the rim, 32% at the free throw line. So, room for improvement, shall we say. Room for improvement at the charity stripe, but this gives Oregon a number of different options in the front court. So KJ Evans can play a small ball 5. He did that as a true freshman. He's a pure 4. Like he is kind of a traditional Chris Bosh type power forward. His offense is going to have to take a jump forward. But the rotation and the number of options Dana Altman now has with Demir in the fold, with I think Evans and Bittle will start. I think Stewart and Demir come off the bench. The mixing and matching was one of my favorite things to watch for the Ducks last year, especially leading up to Big Ten play, but frankly throughout the season. I thought Dana did a really, really good job of figuring out when to have this guy in the court and that guy and who to pair with who. I think you could see a lot of different pairings here. If you wanted to go a little bit smaller and athletic, you could put Stewart and Evans on the court together. If you wanted to be twin towers but still have offense out there, you could do Bittle and Demir on the court. I mean, you're going to start with Evans and Bittle. That's probably going to be your tandem down the stretch. It was at the end of last season for most of it. But, last year, the 4 bigs Oregon had were Evans and Brandon Angel and Nate Bittle and Supreme Cook. And I always felt throughout, especially as Oregon, got off to that 9-0 start and picked up big wins over Alabama and Texas A&M, I really felt like Dana Altman was just putting on a coaching masterclass of always having the right guys in on the court together at the same time to put them in positions to succeed. So I'm interested to see how this all plays out, but I'm really excited about how it can all play out. And Demir is a guy who originally committed to UCLA a few years ago, but went to go play professionally in Turkey. I think he was, deciding around if it was 2022 was when he originally committed. I think that was when he was about 18 years old. So he's got plenty of experience. I don't think he's someone who you're going to, at least right away in his career, dump the ball into. And I think that'll be a developing aspect of his game. But it was a developing aspect of Dante's game. And right now, Supreme Cook, of course, no longer with the team because last year was his final season of eligibility. They were going to bring in Miles Goodman, but then an offseason incident caused them to move on from him, the Penn State transfer. This gives Oregon that 4 big man rotational depth that I think Dana Altman wants. This is a guy who comes in and I think can just be a little bit of a better version of Supreme Cook, who had some great moments last year, energy, and I think that Demir is going to be a better defender than Supreme Cook was. Cook might have been a little bit more advanced with his low post offensive game, but fun pickup here for the Ducks, and long term in his college career, the ceiling looks to me like in Folly Dante because the physical profile is almost exactly the same. He's 6'10", 250. He's got a 7'3" wingspan. Looking at you, Jay Billis, and a 9'3" standing reach. Crazy and can get up more than a guy that size should be able to. So, Ege Demir, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, the newest Duck on the hardwood. Wrapping real quick with Oregon trivia today. The answer to yesterday's questions, I got one right. The first 10-win season was in 2000. The first 11-win season was 2001. I thought they were both in 2001, but they won 10 before they won 11. And then the first coach to win his first two bowl games for Oregon was Mark Helfrich, Alamo Bowl and the Rose Bowl. I got to tell you, my guess was Bellotti. I was wrong. I wouldn't have gotten that. So, 2 trivia questions wrapped today. How many coaches have won the AP Coach of the Year? And how many players have won the Polynesian College Football Player of the Year? Panay Sewell had to have won it. I'm almost certain that he did. Haloti Nada, maybe. Plus, I'll go with 2. I'll go with 2, saying it's Sewell and Haloti Nada. How many coaches have won the AP Coach of the Year? Gosh, Chip Kelly had to have won it. I'll also go with 2. Those are my trivia answers for today. So, we'll call it there. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. Until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and go Ducks.